Ducks Chat NFL Week 7. Yes, Week 7. The show will be a little different. The card isn't great. We have 3 big games. And it's just going to be a lot of just talking about the NFL, stuff around the league. Last week, I think it was said on the show, Teddy talked about debating the conferences, which conference you think is better. We'll do that. See where the conversation goes. I will start with the records now from last week. Teddy did the best last week, 4-1-1. He's now 26-23-2, 53%, 3-3 on locks. Noah went 5-4, 28-19-1 on the year, 60%, 2-4-1 on locks. I went 4-3, 27-18, 60%, 4-2 on locks, and Jeff went 2-3. 31, 28-1, 53%, 2-3-1 on locks, which I actually do think is the exact Packers against the spread record is 2-3-1. I think he has done them every single week. So that is Jeff. Jeff will be back at some point. Zaka was supposed to join us tonight, but decided not to because he said he's
maternity leave, man. Jeff just had a kid.
Yeah. So all right. To recap from last week, how we always do player of the week, best performance, worst performance. I have a feeling we might all have the same worst performance, so I'll start with Noah. Tell me about your LA Chargers from last week.
Hey, who said I was going to have the Chargers as my worst performance? So for my worst performance, I have the LA Chargers. I think it was exactly what we needed. In all honesty, as tough as that was a game to, I didn't have a chance to watch. I was at MetLife. As hard of a game it was to watch the highlights too. I think that was a little bit of a gut punch for a young team like that with a rookie head coach. So I think they'll be back. Not this week; they're on a bye, but I think they'll be back next week, ready to go. But I don't really have a whole lot to say other than they were awful. They were just nothing they did worked. Nothing. I don't know why. Well, I love the call that Brandon Staley went for it on 4th down on his 19-yard line. I love it, but it's going to work other weeks. But in a week where nothing was going for him, it was tough to see. It was tough to see.
Yeah, that you almost forget that with like I love him going for it all the time. You almost forget like it can go really south when you do that. And this was the first week it didn't work because they did it multiple times. Like they may have been like 0-4, 0 for 5 on 4th down. Like it was just never working.
Yeah, and that was kind of the nail in the coffin. Like even if they punted at that point, they probably still would have had a chance to come back. Granted, it wasn't looking good. But the fact that they didn't get that first down, it was that they were dead. At that point, they were a dead team.
Just tell me I was right, Noah. Just tell me I was right.
Were the Ravens your lock?
No, I should have made him.
Oh, it was the Chiefs. It was the Chiefs.
Yeah.
But you were on the Ravens too.
The Chargers were my lock. So
I was all over the Ravens.
And the Browns were
Is it more so of a reality check for yourself or the team? Like I just want to make sure we're on the same page.
It very much is not a reality check for me. I am disappointed with my team's performance, but I'm very confident they're going to come back. And I think it was just a blip on the radar. I think they're going to win the Super Bowl. And yeah.
So no, I obviously know your answer to what my next question will be. So I'm just going to ask Teddy this question. The Chiefs currently are plus odds to win the AFC West. Would you take that?
To win the AFC West. Wow.
They're a game out on the Chargers and still have to play them.
No, I honestly wouldn't. I just think the Chiefs have so many holes on defense. It's just like Swiss cheese. They're going to be in these high scoring games. And if Patrick Mahomes is off by a little bit, if he does that too much of like trying to put it all on his back, it comes back right at him. And I just can't see that them picking the AFC West. I'm going to go with the Chargers. I mean, that'd be wild to see the Chiefs finally a wild card team, but yeah, I can't see it.
Yeah, looking at it now, the current is on the Barstool Sportsbook. Kansas City Chiefs plus 105, Chargers plus 140. So the Chiefs are still favored to win the division.
Dude, that's just stealing people's money, in my opinion.
Would you bet the
That's what
Chargers
Vegas-
plus 140?
Yeah, probably.
Probably.
I think they have a lot better going on than what the Chiefs do.
Mm,
A lot more hope, in my opinion.
yeah.
But I was gonna get into it. I'll get into it. The
Get
best
into it.
team of the week, my Baltimore Ravens.
Yep.
I said it. You guys like,
You
oh,
did.
dude, time doesn't mean anything. Time means a lot.
Yep.
And the Ravens need their damn respect, just like LeBron needs it. I love this team, what they're doing, what Lamar Jackson's doing. What are they? What, 5-1 now?
5-1.
Yeah,
Yep.
5-1. I honestly believe they're probably the favorite in the AFC behind or in front of the Bills. I think they're way more sound team. Josh Allen, I mean, obviously that was a tough game for them, but I love the Ravens. 200 yards given up against the Chargers, the Superchargers, as you may say. My best performance or best team is the Ravens. And we just roll into the player of the week.
Sure. Yeah.
All right. I'm going to go with, I'm sure we all had it, but Derrick Henry, 3
Yep, that's
touchdowns,
what I had too.
43 yards. What, back-to-back games with 3 touchdowns,
Yep.
man. It's just
He now has 10 on the season.
killing it.
Insane.
Yeah. I guess he's in the MVP race now.
Yeah. So I did text everyone that I could that gambles on sports today, and I told them that we should take Derrick Henry plus 3,000 to win the MVP. So I have that now. He has, because I was doing some I don't know if the math's 100% correct. I kind of did it like quick form type math. He's on pace for like 2,300 rushing yards and over 20 touchdowns. Like if he does
That's
that,
insane.
if
Goodness.
he somehow keeps this pace, which he's shown that as the season progresses, he gets better. He does it like in games, he gets stronger throughout the games. He starts the game averaging like 2 yards a carry. Then in the fourth quarter, he averages 6 yards a carry in his career. And he's going to just keep getting better throughout the season. If they make the playoffs, because the defense is suspect, perhaps even more than the Chiefs defense, and now they're banged up too on top of that. If they make the playoffs, win the AFC South, and he goes 2,320 touchdowns, how do you not give him the MVP? Unless the Cardinals go 17-0.
Yeah, really. That'd be awesome to see a running back win it nowadays, because it seems like it's always like a quarterback and defense doesn't really get too much credit, but a running back with a passing league, you could say, would be awesome.
Mm-hmm. It would be awesome.
I guess you could say that really the only other person that is in the conversation at this point is Kyler Murray, but I feel like after the last 2 weeks,
Lamar Jackson.
Lamar Jackson too. I guess
I
Lamar
would say
Jackson
Dak.
too. Yeah. Okay. So but I feel like out of those 4, Derrick Henry is clearly the front runner at this point. Like the Titans are 4-2. They just knocked off the Bills, and Dak, Lamar, and Kyler are all having very good seasons, but Derrick Henry's having a record-breaking season. Like we haven't seen a running back put up 20 touchdowns in a season. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I think LaShawn McCoy in 2013. That sounds about right.
Maybe.
And then before that, it might have been LaDainian Tomlinson.
That might
Like
be
this
right.
is just an insane stretch of football that he's having. And if he at least keeps pace, he doesn't need to score 3 touchdowns every week, but if he at least keeps pace and gets around 2,000 yards, 20 touchdowns, I don't see how you don't give it to him.
Mm-hmm. Who was your best performance of the week then? No,
It was Derrick Henry.
and then player of the week was also.
A player of the week, I had Derrick Henry.
Okay.
Performance of the week, like best team, I had the Cardinals. They went into Cleveland on a windy day. They're a pass-heavy team. I know the Browns are now banged up a bit, but they did go into the game with Baker. They did go into the game with Kareem Hunt, and it wasn't even close from the start.
Yeah, that was my lock of the week, was the Browns. I really like the Browns.
I was big sad about that.
Yeah, but yeah, that was, in a way, that game was more impressive to me than what the Cardinals did to the Rams, given like all the circumstances, like going on the road, and they just thoroughly dominated the Browns. The Browns were never in that, and if it wasn't for the Peoples-Jones Hail Mary, like that game's not even close. They got within 8 or 9 or whatever it was, but so then Teddy, you still have worst performance. Is it also the Chargers, right?
No, it's the Detroit Lions. The Detroit Lions. It's just so sad. Before I even got a chance to put on the game, they were down 10-0. Didn't score until the fourth quarter. They got a lot of injuries. Yeah, it's just sad field goal. It's just one of those things that there's really no hope. This was probably their most likely winnable game. I mean, the Birds are coming up in 2 weeks. They got the Rams this week.
Yeah.
So I mean, I pray to
Stafford
God.
revenge or golf revenge? Which weighs more on that?
I think Stafford's just gonna come out and like that's one thing I'd love to bet on. I'd love to take the Rams first half,
Mm.
and then a little backdoor cover because he gets a little soft. Feel bad that they're already down so much.
Mhm.
One of those kind of things, which you can get into later. But yeah, the Lions, there's just no hope. It's sad out here. Thank God the Wings and Pistons started up, so there's some hope.
Yeah.
We'll see who wins first, the Pistons or the Lions.
Yeah, it's funny. So I had Chargers' worst performance. Derrick Henry's player of the week, and I wanted to give it to the Raiders for best performance. They dominated the Broncos with everything going on. It was very impressive to see them come out like that. They looked like the team that we saw the first 3 weeks. I think the Raiders might be back a little bit and might go on, maybe a little run. They'll compete for a wild card spot. I'm excited to keep watching them because the Raiders, when they're good, it's fun. They're like Miami, in college football. So we can get into this week's games. We could also let's start because Teddy, you brought this up last week. AFC or NFC? What do you think's the best conference?
I'm gonna go with the NFC. Like I mean, it's always tough because the NFC seems like there's a lot of there's 4 5-1 teams. Cardinals are 6-0. I mean, even that division with like the Niners being 2-3, I think they're still a way better team than the 2-3 record shows. Is it just because there's just a few of those solid, really good teams beating up at the bottom of their division? Like I don't know, but I would probably lean towards the NFC. I mean, the Cowboys are a very strong team. Their defense is unstoppable, putting up a ton of points. I mean, Packers, they're obviously the Packers besides that week 1 blowout. The Bucks, I mean, who knows what the Bucks are going to be, but I think they're a sound team to get to the playoffs. The Rams, obviously, I think they're the best team right behind the Cardinals. So there's a lot going on there. Just seems like the AFC, there's never like that top standout dog. Like you got the Bills, you got the Ravens that are now up and coming. Everyone's kind of giving their respect, but everything else. I mean, Chargers are up there as well, but you got Bengals, Browns, Titans, Raiders. I mean, it's nothing jumping at me as a solid team. So I'd probably lean towards the NFC.
No, what do you think?
I also lean towards the NFC. I mean, when you look at the top teams in the AFC, Chargers, Bills, I think they're 2 of the class of the NFL. The Chiefs are obviously the Chiefs. And those 3, and say what you want about the Ravens, they are a very good team. But I think those 3 are the really only true 3 that are a threat to win the Super Bowl this year. I think the Ravens are going to be a playoff team. They're going to win that division. Now that the Browns are banged up, I don't see the Bengals catching them. But Lamar Jackson in the playoffs, we've seen is not Lamar Jackson in the regular season. And outside of those 4 teams, you have the Bengals who are good but not great. They have their issues. You have the Raiders who are good but not great. They have their issues. And outside of them, and Titans who are good but not great and have their issues, especially defensively. And that's a trend actually on the whole AFC. Defense is not that great amongst the better teams in that conference. Now, when you switch it over to the NFC, Cowboys, Cardinals, Packers, Buccaneers. I think the Cowboys are the odd man out of that group right there. Similar to the Ravens, they're going to win a lot of games. They're going to be really good, go to the playoffs. But I think Packers, Bucks, and Cardinals are the 3 that are really the threat to win the Super Bowl. And I would take those 3.
Rams?
Oh, Rams. Sorry, I totally missed the Rams. So I'd actually say I totally missed the Rams. So it's Cardinals, Rams, Packers, and Bucks. So that's 4 teams opposed to 3. And I would take that 4 over the AFC's 3. And I think as a total of the NFC, you have a lot more of those good but not great teams. Even the 49ers and Seahawks, whose record isn't that great right now, and the Seahawks a little banged up, I think those are good, not great teams. The Vikings could even be a good, not great team. They always tend to win right around, 9-10 games. They're always going to score a lot of points. They're always a threat to upset every week. like I said, I just think the NFC put together is a more complete conference than the AFC. You have a lot more well-rounded offensive defensive teams rather than these high-powered offenses on the West that can't stop anybody. And I think it's risky come playoffs, that type of strategy.
It's
Defense
interesting.
wins championships.
It's interesting. It almost speaks to who the powers were in the conference for how these teams are built. Like the Chiefs came to power in the AFC. Now all these teams they're high powered offense. Like we need to keep up with Kansas City. And then in the NFC, there hasn't really been like that team. So it's a lot more well-rounded. And I think, no, what you were saying is absolutely right with the Cowboys, and it has everything to do with their coach, not their talent.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Because that team is complete. Like the amount of weapons they have in offense and the amount of players they have on defense, between Leighton Vander Esch, Micah Parsons, DeMarcus Lawrence, Trayvon Diggs is insane.
Filthy.
Like that's the best Cowboys team I've seen in a few decades, since I've been alive. They've had some good teams with Tony Romo. The Dak's rookie season was a little funny, but that was a good team.
Lost to Mike McCarthy, ironically.
Mike McCarthy's going to be the downfall of that team, and I can't wait to watch it. It's going to be hilarious.
Yeah, I'm glad you said it's the best team in 20 years because when they don't win a playoff game this year, we can all laugh again. And just another year add to the list. So I'm so happy you said that.
I mean, they could not win a playoff game, and it still could be their best team in 20 years because how many wins they have in the last 20 years? 2 in the playoffs?
Yeah, so okay, so getting into, I agree with you guys too. NFC, I think more well-rounded conference. There's more depth in the conference, despite the NFC East trying to be the anchor that weighs down everyone else.
Come week 10 or 11, and obviously the records are going to be different. I would be much more afraid of a 2-4 Seahawks than a 2-4 Colts. Like I think, maybe the Colts have a better record because Russell Wilson's going to be out for a month come week 10 or 11, but those two teams healthy, I think I'd be more afraid of a Seahawks than a Colts team. It's stuff like that where it's just like these bottom of the division teams in the NFC are just better than these bottom tier AFC teams.
Yeah, AFC is just a lot of flash.
I
feel like.
Yeah.
Interestingly enough, Noah, I think you just kind of randomly pulled those two teams, but they did play week 1, and the Seahawks did dominate the Colts.
There you go.
You know what he was talking about.
Yeah. All right, so getting into this weekend's games, we're going right into Bengals-Ravens. This might be the game of the week, probably. Bengals going to Baltimore, best team the Bengals have had in years. Ravens are a 6-point favorite. So I'll get to 6.5, but I'm doing what I wrote down the other day. 6-point favorite. Over under is 47. Teddy, we'll start with your Ravens.
Yeah, I really do like the Ravens here. I mean, great performance last week against the Chargers. Can't really say anything more about that. But I think they keep it rolling. I mean, they have an opportunity to keep and get another win. I mean, the Bengals again are a solid team, Joe Burrow, but I feel like Lamar Jackson is just really is embracing this year and getting that contract again. I mean, I'm going to mention it every time, but they have a very well-rounded team. You can throw the ball. I just don't see the Bengals like they're a good team. Like you just want them to be good, but hold off yet. Like it's not your year. Don't do anything special. Don't make a splash. Just get like that 8, 9, maybe 10 wins. But I'll take the Ravens for the over/under. I'm gonna probably lean towards the under. I don't really have any other logic to it. I just think maybe more of a defensive battle a little bit. So I'll go under 47.
No.
I actually already bet on this game. I got Bengals plus 6.5. I got it at the hook. I think the Ravens win, but I think the Bengals cover. The Bengals have this tendency to make every single game they play close. Like they've been to overtime twice already this year, and both of those games were in danger of tying. Like between all the missed kicks against the Packers and the game winner they had with only a couple minutes left against the Vikings in overtime, this just has a 3 or 4 point game written all over it. Like Teddy said, this is the best team the Bengals have had in years. Joe Burrow's looked very good the last few weeks after throwing 3 picks, 2 against, was it Raiders or Steelers? Raiders, I think. He threw 3 picks against someone earlier this year.
Bears.
Was it the Bears? outside of that game, he's looked very good. Jamar Chase has been a stud. Their defense has held up. It's not, great, but that's why I tend to lean under on this one as well. And like I said, this could be another one of those Bengals 22-25 games where they just lose by a game-winning field goal.
I am also on the Bengals, and I'm a little concerned because I keep betting against the Ravens, and Teddy's been on the Ravens. I bet on the Raiders, I bet on the Colts, I bet on the Chargers. So 3 of their 6 games I've bet against them. I think the Bengals keep it close. They're frisky. It's a huge game for them. This is like their first big game. I was really impressed by what they did against the Packers. How they performed in that one. So I think they can keep it close in this one. I still have legitimate concerns about how banged up the Ravens are, and I don't know when I thought it really caught up to them against the Colts then when they came out last week and just dominated the Chargers. It was like nothing even was different. But yeah, I think the Bengals can keep it close. And the over-under, I don't really know, but it being 47 tends to make me feel like 6.5 is a lot for a 47. If that makes if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Next game, Chiefs at the Tennessee Titans. The Titans are 5.5 point underdogs. The over/under is 56.5, highest total on the board this week. No, we'll start with you here.
So I took the Bills to cover against the Titans, and I actually bought a point to 4.5. That bit me in the ass. That bit me in the ass. So I feel like I have to go with the Titans because the Chiefs aren't as good as the Bills, and the Titans beat the Bills. I could see the Chiefs winning because the Titans' weaknesses play very much into the Chiefs' strengths, and the Titans are now without Tyler Lewan. But again, I think this is another situation where Chiefs win, Titans cover, because the Chiefs defense is as suspect as the Titans. Chuck, you said that earlier. Obviously, Titans probably a little bit more than the Chiefs. But I think this opens the door for Ryan Tannehill to finally get connected with A.J. Brown and Julio Jones. And Derrick Henry is just going to set the tone the entire game. There's no way they're going to be able to tackle him consistently. So I like the over in this because of that. And like Titans plus 5.5.
And Teddy, how do you see this game?
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of been going back and forth on it with the 5.5. Obviously, Titans look great. Taylor Lewan definitely did hurt, and it's going to hurt for this week coming up. But I feel like we do this every week. We're like, all right, the Chiefs like actually need to like win a game and be dominant. I mean, they did against Washington, but it's like time to show like the Chiefs they've been for the last 2 years. And I feel like the Titans have been just so wishy-washy. Like they lost to the Jets, but then they beat the Bills. Like the worst team, best team. It's so hard to like see, what their identity is. Like they're what, 4-2, but are they a real 4-2 contender? I don't know. I'm probably gonna take the Chiefs here. As much as I don't like it, I feel like the 5.5. It's not. I mean, kill it by a touchdown. They've been in a ton of close games this year. It feels like. But they're not dominating teams. They're just winning by like a possession or two, or one possession, like 6 points. So I'm gonna go with the Chiefs. Just I don't even know why I like it, but I'm just gonna do it. It's gonna anything I like, but not fall into the public after the Titans beat the Bills. So Chiefs, and I'm gonna go with the under too. I think if it's a Derrick Henry's run the ball all game because Titans can't do anything offensively. I maybe slow the clock down a little bit or run, speed it up. Sorry. I'm gonna go with the under. 56.5. It's like 72 points in college. Keep saying it, but let's take the under.
I think I'm leaning Chiefs too. I don't really like it because I don't like on the road laying 5.5. It's just I feel like the Bills made a lot of mistakes. The Titans had a lot of bend don't break moments in that game. Like I think Tyler Bass had 3 or 4 field goals, but they really could have broken that thing open. So I'm uncomfortable with the Titans defense because I think they're playing a better offense. I think the Chiefs are a better offense than the Bills, and I trust the Chiefs defense more than the Titans. Maybe I don't even know, but I would probably say the over 2. And like if the Chiefs cover, it would be like by 1 score. Like it would be by 6 or 7. It won't be a blowout either way because neither team can really stop each other. But I think I'll take the Chiefs here, 5.5. I don't really love it. I kind of want to see what happens on Sunday, but Chiefs 5.5. I'll go with. Sunday Night Football. Colts at 49ers. I asked Noah this earlier. Teddy, do you know who's starting at quarterback for the 49ers? Because I do not. Is it Jimmy G? Lance did get injured before their bye.
I don't know. Probably. I'd say sure.
Okay. So we don't know who's starting at quarterback for the 49ers. The 49ers are a 3.5-point favorite. The over-under is 44. I don't know who we just started. I think Teddy, I think you're up. Yeah, we'll start with Teddy on this one.
All right. I mean, it's just an odd game too. Like the Colts, I want them to keep winning, obviously, for that draft pick. And Carson Wentz keeps playing. I mean, they had a really good win. I mean, it wasn't a great team. Was it the Texans, correct?
Yeah, 31-30 or something like that.
Yeah, so I mean that's a very solid win for them. But I don't like. There's just not really much that you can like stand out against like the Colts. Like it's just like they're the Colts. Like you feel like they should be good, but they're not. 49ers, I mean, they're in that tough division that I feel like they might need that game a little bit more than the Colts, even though the Colts have a losing record too. Because they have to win those games out of the division. I mean, that's just going to be a dogfight in the division. So anything you get out, I would probably take the Niners minus 3.5. I don't love it, but kind of lean one way. I'd take it. I just can't trust the Colts to put together 2 fantastic games like that. Over under, I'm just staying away from. I've not a absolute clue. With 44 is such a low number.
Yeah. No.
I also like the Niners minus 3.5. I think after last game, the Colts are due for a letdown, specifically Carson Wentz. He's going to be all up on his high horse and thinking that he's hot shit again, which he's not. And the 49ers have a solid defense. Nick Bosa, I think, is going to terrorize Carson Wentz because Carson Wentz is going to do what Carson Wentz does and try to make plays with his feet. And he's not nearly as fast as what he used to be early on in his career. And I think the pass rush is really going to get to them. I think they're going to struggle to score points. I don't love the Niners offense either, but I think I'd take a minus 3.5 no matter what quarterback is starting, especially at home. Like I said, I don't trust the Colts offense in this spot here.
Yeah, I do think where the Colts secondary is banged up and the Ravens kind of showed that. I think the 49ers will have a lot of success on offense in this game, and I will probably be I'll go with the 49ers in this. What Teddy said, they need the game more. Well, I don't know. They kind of both need the games now that I think about it, because the Titans win because they're up 2 games in the division. I just think the 49ers, what they can do, the Ravens and 49ers have very similar game plans. They want to be able to run the ball. And I don't think the 49ers will spot them a 22-3 lead. So I'll go with the 49ers here. And I don't know about the total either. Noah, or if you wanted to start off with your card, you can do your dog and save your lock for the
yeah. So like I said, I already took the Bengals plus 6.5, and I already took Broncos money line. I believe they're +2 right now. Browns are going to be playing without Baker, Chubb, and Hunt on Thursday. So I do like the Broncos to bounce back in that spot. They lost 3 in a row. Don't see them losing a 4th. I like the Panthers -3 at the Giants. The Giants are an awful football team. Danny Jones looked a little bit better in the first few weeks, but he's been pretty bad the last few weeks. Panthers have a solid defense. Giants have a terrible defense, and I think this is a good bounce back spot. For Sam Darnold, I think Matt Rule said they're planning on reestablishing a heavy running game. I know they've been without McCaffrey, but seems like a big game for Chuba coming this week. I also have Tennessee 5.5, as we mentioned. I like the Dolphins +2.5 versus Atlanta. Matt Ryan tends to play pretty well at home, but they've lost to some really bad teams this year. And they also have looked not great against other so-so teams. Atlanta just isn't good. Just simply put. And the Dolphins won 10 games last year. I think they can at least get a little bit of that magic going this week, pull off a win against a very bad Atlanta team on the road in the Dome. So I took them plus 2.5. I like the Patriots -7 versus the Jets. It's in New England. The Jets are terrible. I think the Patriots defense is solid. They kicked the shit out of them in New York a few weeks ago. And I think they're going to have a hefty win again against them. And as I said, Niners -3.5 versus the Colts this week.
All right.
Dog of the week, I'm sorry, was the Bengals.
Okay. Teddy, your picks.
Okay, I'm gonna roll with the Chiefs, like I mentioned early on, -5.5. The Niners -3.5. I don't have too much on the card just because it's a tough slate out there.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, so I'm actually gonna go with the Panthers. I like that pick. Noah. I feel like they're a solid team. At some point, they got to win one of these close games, and I think they bounce back against the Giants. I do love the Pats as well at -6.5. They're a very good team. I think Belichick's just going to give Zach Wilson nightmares defensively. Going to have his head spinning. If you have Pat's defense, put him in your fantasy lineup. It's going to be a lot of big plays, defensive plays. My dog of the week is going to actually be the Lions. I know it's at the worst performance. There's no hope, but I feel that soft spot in Matt Stafford's heart is just going to pull off the brakes a little bit. It is the NFL. You don't do that, but at some point, I feel like there's going to be a little bit of backdoor cover. Dan Campbell loves some fourth quarter field goals that are meaningless, so maybe he does one of them to put them inside the number. 15's a pretty good number, I'd like to say. But I do love possibly these large spreads. We got Lions +15, Houston +17.5, and Chicago +12.5. Tease the hell out of them. Fuck it. Just put a 3-team 7-point teaser and just let it ride. Might as well. I mean, that's 20, 60 points. I don't know, that just doesn't make any sense, but it's a lot of points to have.
It's a lot of points.
So I'd probably do one of those teasers just for the fun of it. And my lock of the week, I'm going to go with the Ravens. My good old Ravens. I moved on. I took the Browns a lot. They're done in my eyes for myself in betting. But my new team, the Ravens, are going to cover, and they're going to be a dominant force in the AFC.
Okay. So my card, Texans +17.5. It's too many points. This is one of those spots where the Cardinals stock couldn't be higher and the Texans stock couldn't be lower. I'm also banking on Tyrod Taylor starting this week. If he starts, they will not lose by more than 17.5. I think he will help. They at least have a decent enough looking offense when he plays.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll take him. Packers -9. The football team's not very good, so I'll take the Packers in Lambeau. Dolphins +2.5. I'm with Noah on this. Dolphins have to show some life at some point. They're 1-5. Think they might. I don't like the spot how they don't have a bye. They're the only team I think who doesn't have a bye after the London game, which kind of sucks. But the Falcons are the Falcons, and I have to see if the Dolphins have something in the tank here. This is a gut check for them after last week. Patriots Jets under 42.5. It's probably going to be really low scoring. This pick, I was looking at the way the money was going, and it's 90% is on the favorite in this one. So I'm taking Jets +7.
My goodness.
I have to do it. There's too many favorites have been covering. I have to take the Jets here.
Now you're backing me out of my pick. I don't want to be part of the public. It's not my job.
This pick stinks so badly, but I have to make it out of principle.
All right, take it off my card. I'm touching the under.
And then my lock of the week, we have a mortal lock off, Teddy. I have the Bengals +6.5. Something's got to give.
Ooh.
What ain't this week?
What ain't this week? Oh,
the Bengals covering.
Oh, okay. All right, so we got like 2 minutes. Anything else?
Yeah, my lock of the
Oh,
week.
your lock of the week. Sorry, Noah.
Yeah, my lock of the week. Sorry, I already mentioned it, but it is the Panthers -3 at the Giants. I have no faith in the Giants at this point. They looked terrible last week, and also MetLife is just a concrete toilet bowl. Like I don't know like how that was a stadium they built. Like the facilities look nice, like walking around, but on the outside and on the inside, it is just one concrete bowl. There's just nothing special to it. You do feel nice and close. I'll give it that, but ugly stadium. Ugly stadium.
Well, Chuck and I will be there November or December 11th.
Yeah, something like that.
Army Navy.
Yep. Go Army.
Just see a lot of running the football. Quickest game of your life. I kind of mentioned it, but I'm so sad about the Browns. I thought they were going to be a really good team. I love betting on them, and they just hurt my heart week after week. So they're kind of dead to me at this point.
Yeah, it's tough. Tough with that. The last year was a lot of fun. Everything looked it was moving up, and then all the injuries. Hopefully, they can make a run at the end, but
it's not even really their fault. They're still good. They're just hurt.
It's the Browns.
They had a
tough schedule. Be great.
They had a tough schedule in the start. Now they're just hurt.
Yeah, and they had all those like they competed with the Chiefs but lost at the end, and they had a bunch of games like that. So what are you gonna do? Yeah. So yeah, that's if there's anything else you guys have or no.
No, I can't wait to watch football starting at noon on Sunday. Well, I'll be at the stupid race, but tomorrow night I'll be able to watch a 7:20 kickoff, which is pretty sick.
That is sick. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, and I can't wait to horns down everything I do. Just walk around like this.
Yeah, that'll be great. That'll be good. All right, that's the show.